The case involving missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudishka Kanaki, who disappeared more than 10 days ago in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, has a lot of spring breakers and travelers alike on edge, reminding us all to maintain situational awareness at all times. Helping us dive deeper on this and how to stay safe is Ashley Glinka. Thank you so much for joining us. I think this is such a timely subject. Just this week, the Dominican Republic authorities are wanting to declare this young university student dead. She's been missing for more than 10 days at this point, and this is something that you never think is going to happen to you, but it is always a possibility.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the biggest things is in safety, that it can't happen to me mindset. We want to feel that way because we always think that, I'm going somewhere safe, there's a lot of people around, but anything can happen at any time.
That's right.
So being able to shift a mindset from being reactive to proactive. And when you travel, stuff happens all the time.
That's true.
Missing luggage, missing planes, so anything is possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, I know that schools, they do kind of give some tips and advice before these spring breakers. Let's focus on spring breakers for a moment here, because if it's not going abroad and having something awful happen, it could be something as alcohol poisoning when you're on the beach in Miami, or it could be anywhere. So it sounds like the schools are maybe falling a little bit short of really giving sage advice on how to truly stay safe and healthy when you go away.
It's hard because if it's not a school sanctioned trip and it's just personal travel, then it falls back onto the individual.
And that's what this is.
And that's what this was, and a lot of spring break is. So when schools go on their sanctioned trips, they provide security briefings and just kind of rundowns of this is what we're doing to stay safe. They have check-ins, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the individual travel, we really have to take it upon ourselves. We have to teach that to our kids.
Right.
That you're responsible for you and you need to have a plan of action.
Where would you begin? So let's talk about that plan of action. So let's say it's an abroad trip, such as Sudishka. What would you advise your children to do if they get on a plane to go to another country?
Whether you're traveling for business, for pleasure, whatever it is, the really important thing is you want to look into where you're going. So research it. Make sure that you're looking at what hotel you're staying at, where is the nearest hospital, the embassy, all of those things. Do your research and look and plan. And then once you've done that, go ahead and analyze what is the culture you're going to. Make sure you're aware of their customs. What is the crime that's occurring? What makes you a vulnerability?
Right.
Are you traveling by yourself? Are you a female? Do you have a family?
Yeah.
Is the area you're staying in, is there a lot of pickpocketing? What are the crimes?
Right.
And then have a plan of action. So shifting from reacting to everything and really being proactive in your mindset will help you have that plan of action so that when something does go wrong, we're not in this panic mode.
Right.
We're confident because our body's only going to go where our mind's been. So we're not living in the state of paranoia, but rather we're confident in our ability to react, and we're taking the environment and our perception of it to analyze, all right, if I see this and I get that gut feeling, trust it.
True. That is very true. I'll never forget being at I think it was a train station in Rome, and I saw a shady character walking around. You could tell they were going to pickpocket or do something. Kept my eyes locked on him, made eye contact, and then he took off.
Yeah.
They
and
know.
That's one of the biggest things. And I talk about this a lot when I'm teaching, or even in my TED Talk. It's kind of criminals know.
Yes.
They're aware of who's not paying attention, and there's actually been research studies on that. So when you're able to portray yourself with that confident awareness, if I see you, they're going to leave you alone because they don't want the victim that is going to react to them.
That's true.
They want the people that are hesitant or they're just unaware.
And for young students who are going on spring break, what about constant contact? I could never go anywhere without being in constant contact with my parents. So what about that? And
definitely
and AirTags.
Sharing the schedule, AirTags, all the technology that's out now.
Yeah.
There's so much from even 10 years ago. But using that to your advantage. So having those regular check-ins, if it's somewhere where you don't have great cell service, then maybe it's an email or, like you said, AirTags, where someone else can track where you're at. There's watches now with the locator.
Yeah.
So I know for our runner safety stuff, we always say, like, hey, if you have that watch that has the fall on it, you know,
Yes.
like, make sure that's alerted with someone who is aware.
Absolutely. Now we need to take a break, but when we come back, I want to dive a little bit more into understanding the laws, because I don't think a lot of people understand how investigations are conducted in other countries, how criminals are
Yeah.
pursued in other countries, and things like that. So let's do that after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.